Hello and welcome to Tech24 with me, Rebecca Bowring. Coming up in the programme, she's smart, she's sassy, she knows how to code. Tech24 tracks down that rare species, the girl geek. Women still make up a fraction of the IT workforce, but there's a revolution underway. The new iPad has landed, sowing fear in the hearts of tablet makers everywhere. But are its quad-core graphics and eyesight camera features we just can't do without? We'll get to the core of Apple's strategy in Test24. It's this generation's central moral problem, says Sheryl Sandberg, Facebook's chief operating officer. She's talking about gender inequality. While last week's International Women's Day celebrated female success in the workplace, it also highlighted that women remain sparse in top executive roles. US researchers say just 6 of the top 100 tech companies are led by female CEOs. But titans like Google, Twitter and Facebook do all have women in key positions. So is the glass ceiling finally cracking? My guest in the studio today is Rahaf Harfoush. Welcome to Tech24. Thanks for being with us. Explain a little bit first about what you do.
So I'm a writer and I'm a strategist. I specialize in examining how technology is changing the way that people are doing business and interacting with each other.
And you meet a lot of women entrepreneurs as part of that.
Yes, I've been very fortunate.
Now in 2010, TechCrunch put out a rather controversial article entitled "Too Few Women in Tech, Stop Blaming the Men." Is that still a pertinent debate today?
I mean, I think it's something that's not just applicable to tech. As Sheryl Sandberg mentioned, the issues of women in the workplace have been present in all industries. We're still fighting for equal pay in a lot of places, but I think we're starting to see a lot of positive changes happening. So I do believe that there's a lot of good things that are happening. We're starting to see more women taking on some of these positions. And so ultimately, I think overall the trend, we're going to see more and more women take positions inside the tech. So I don't think it's a gender-specific issue.
So you think it's a bit of a misnomer to call this, to make this a man-woman divide? I
do. I think there are issues that are applicable to all entrepreneurs and challenges that everybody faces, but ultimately from what I'm seeing from the networks and the ideas I've had the privilege of coming across, ultimately I think this is a shift that's going to happen right now.
There are women pioneers, women on a mission like Sheryl Sandberg, like Rachel Scarr, who was the co-founder of Change the Ratio in New York. That particular article I mentioned earlier was written in response to her, and she's trying to improve the visibility of female entrepreneurs in the Big Apple. Well, recently there I caught up with the co-founders of Fashism. That's a real-time crowdsourced fashion website where you can post photos of yourself in an outfit and ask other users for their feedback. Well, I asked the co-founders what support they got when they started their own company.
In New York, there's a really strong female entrepreneurship community here. So there's a lot of women starting companies here, supporting each other, and although we're relatively the minority, it's still a strong group and really supportive, and a group that really looks out for one another.
Also, probably just in the startup community in general, there's a real interest in fashion. Because people see this industry kind of getting really big. Technology hasn't really been a big part of the fashion industry yet, so they see that as an opportunity. But at the same time, a lot of VCs are not, and entrepreneurs aren't necessarily experienced in that industry. So in a way, they trust us.
And Rahaf Ashley was saying there that VCs trust women in fashion because it's an area they know. Are we seeing lots of female entrepreneurs sticking to kind of female-friendly sectors like health, like fashion, like beauty?
I don't think so. I'm seeing women that are engaging in a wide variety of industries. For example, one of my colleagues, Belle Pesci, she has an app called Lemon. And what Lemon allows you to do is that it allows you to track and take pictures of all your receipts so that you can track your expenses. It allows you to categorize them, search within them. Incredibly cool app in the sphere of finance. Another great example is Robin Scott. She's the co-founder of a London-based startup called OneLeap. And with OneLeap, you pay a fee to contact a change maker or a highly visible leader. And if they answer you, then that fee gets split into 2 and it goes to a charity that they choose and a charity that you choose. So again, industries of networking, industries of leadership, I don't think we're seeing women just stick to one particular field.
So we are seeing women in pure tech.
Absolutely.
And just very briefly, looking at Sheryl Sandberg and other such role models, what else does need to be done to encourage more women to get into tech? After all, we only represent 20% of the IT sector.
Absolutely. I think one of the best things is to start creating networks of mentorship and support. I think women need to be less shy about speaking up and sharing their accomplishments. And I think we really just need to acknowledge the fact that, yes, there are challenges in the workplace, but as long as we form strong relationships with both men and women who are supportive, then there's really no limit to the amount of positive impact in the entrepreneurial space that we can have.
That's a very positive outlook. Thank you for that. Stay with us. Test 24 is next. This is not an iPad 3, nor is it an iPad HD, but it is the new iPad. Confused? Well, Apple doesn't want us to get hung up on the name, instead on what the latest iOS tablet has to offer. A 5-megapixel camera, a fast processor for gamers, and 4G, all Apple says without decreasing battery life. It's also the firm's most expensive tablet at €489, and it comes out in 9 countries at the end of the week. Rahaf, this reminds me a little bit of the 4S release, a kind of halfway house, some incremental changes. What's Apple up to?
I mean, as usual, I think they're targeting a very specific set of users, the ones that are going to really, really love to have that Retina display screen. They're going to want the ones that are always playing games, the ones that are going to be very heavy users of data all over, wherever they take their iPad with them. However, for most users, if you're not heavy gamers, if you're not watching a large amount of HD video, then the iPad 2 might actually be a better bet for you, because Apple is reducing the price of that tablet. So as Apple has always really geared towards the early adopters, and I think this is a similar type move. It will be interesting, though, because I think the fan base really expects something revolutionary each time.
Every time now, yes. But with the 4S, it wasn't the case. They didn't get what they asked for.
However, based on preliminary shipping numbers, they are doing very well. And I know that in North America and in various places across Europe, the initial shipment of the new iPad have already sold out. So I guess the geeks and the early adopters are embracing this new trend. But
so
I
you
don't
think
know.
this will secure Apple's place at the top of the market, a bit like the iPod did, you know, it's still reigning supreme 10 years after it came out?
Well, absolutely. I mean, Apple revolutionized music sharing. It revolutionized the tablet market. So I think it will always be really one of the main players, because it is leading the innovations.
And so is this really scary times for other tablet makers? Are they quaking in their boots?
I think it's a bit difficult, because you see the gap of how much they have to catch up. I mean, the new iPad even has a feature where you can tap and you could do a speech to text. You can actually dictate things and see it on email or tweet. And so I think it's one of those things where if I was a competitor, I would be groaning a little bit, because they just keep on improving the battery life, the quality of the screen. They're just a little bit ahead,
don't they, of all their competitors?
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for coming onto the programme, Rahaf. It was lovely to have you. Thank you to you for watching. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for. Just a reminder, of course, to check in with us on our Facebook page, the URL coming up on your screen right now. And we'll leave you with one of the social network's newest members, a silver surfer by the name of Shimon Peres. The former Israeli Prime Minister launched his Facebook profile with this accompanying video. Shimon shimmies to dubstep tune Be My Friend for Peace. Not bad for an 88-year-old. See you next week.